What up, what up, what up? Hello, Detroit, and I'd like to welcome you to The Hook. My name is Keith Butler. I'm here with my co-host, Jeffrey Lowe, Big Daddy.
What's up?
Our sports analyst, Leland the Man Stein.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd like to welcome you to the Six-Hole Studio. It's another lovely day on the golf course. The guys are out here kicking it around as usual. You know, they're trying to get those last hits in before.
Kicking it around, they're putting and driving.
Okay, it's Jeff, it's an expression, okay? It's an expression. Nobody.
I know, but they kick soccer balls.
Okay, excuse me, listeners.
What's right? So I can't get mad.
Excuse me, listeners.
You gotta live on the golf course.
I have been corrected. They are putting and driving around today.
Yes. That
Jeez,
sounds right.
Man. Yeah. It's coming to the close of golf season, so guys are getting their last shots in. Is that okay, Jeff? Shots?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful day.
Yeah, woke up this morning about 7, 8 o'clock. They were out here, and the dew was on the ground. And they were still, swinging away. But it's turned out to be a beautiful day, and we hope you guys are enjoying it. And before we get started, of course, the boys and I are going to do a little quick toast with some Uncle Nearest, our favorite brand, one of our favorite brands of whiskey, to Uncle Nearest. There we go. Take a quick sip.
All right, Unc.
Good to be off the wagon.
That's not bad stuff. That's pretty smooth. A little warm, and that goes down nice and easy. Well, we're going to get going. Well, Jeff, you killed yours. Stein's going to nurse his. But we're going to get going today. We've got a good topic, I think. And we've got the guy who can talk about it, Mr. Mike Wilson. Hello, Mike. How you doing?
Greetings, friends and colleagues. I'm doing great.
Yeah, welcome to the show. We're glad you took the time out to stop by and talk to us a little bit. Jeff and I guess
But Mike got to tell us what he do now.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay,
we're going to get to that. Yeah. Well, introduce yourself, Mike. I'm sorry. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yes.
Don't
Okay,
be fast,
Mike
bro.
Wilson.
You're right, Stein.
Director of Baseball Operations for historic Hamtramck Stadium in the friendly confines of Hamtramck, Michigan.
Give us some
Cool,
past
cool.
stuff. Former what?
Cool.
Former executive director of the Woodbridge Community Youth Center and the Woodbridge Baseball Academy.
Now, I got some questions about that. Jeff and I did a piece with you probably about, 10 years ago?
Yeah, about 10
Somewhere
years,
around
yeah.
there. And Woodbridge was an amazing facility.
Yes, it was.
Pretty
awesome.
I'd never seen anything like that in Detroit. At least not in a long time since, before I was a kid. The grasses used to be green. But what you did at Woodbridge was phenomenal. And, I want to ask you, what was it that made you do that? I mean, baseball had all but died out in the inner city.
Yeah.
Black youth weren't doing it anymore.
Right.
What made you decide that you could get it going again? Because it was pretty successful. The field it looked like a professional field when you were done.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, thank you for that, for paying homage to us for that. But in essence, originally, in terms of the baseball field, fields were literally dying out as far as fields that were comparable or apropos to be able to play advanced or high caliber baseball for youth in the city of Detroit. Mm-hmm. The baseball diamonds were not being kept up. I think the city as a whole, park and recreation, one of the first things that they cut was maintaining baseball diamonds and baseball fields. So,
And why would they do that? What was the point?
Yeah, unfortunately, Leland, they didn't.
Stein, move closer to the microphone.
They didn't feel like it was, it was worthy of our youth anymore. Baseball, they felt like that they just didn't. First off, they didn't want to put the money into it, and they didn't want to invest in our kids in that genre or in that department anymore. So we felt like, hey, another thing. Let me back up a little bit as well. I know and knew at that time a lot of the baseball coaches in the city of Detroit. and they were telling me that there were no batting cages, for one, indoor batting cages where kids could work out in the off season or the winter time. So they were hoping that that there could be some cages built so kids could come in and get some reps and continue to develop in the off season. So we had 2 gymnasiums in the facility that we had there, which was a Detroit Public School building. Matter of fact, the Poe building that we were in was the oldest Detroit Public School building still in use at that time. We moved in 2007, and so when they had mentioned that, I said, well, hey, we've got 2 gymnasiums. Why don't we start out in maybe the upstairs gymnasium on the 2nd floor? Why don't we go ahead and put a batting cage in there? So we actually ended up putting 2 batting cages in there. Mm-hmm. And when we did, an influx of schools and teams, travel teams in the city of Detroit and recreation teams in the city of Detroit would come in and try to book it or rent it to get reps. And maybe about a year and a half after we did that, fellas, I felt, hey, you know what? Another thing that we really need in the city of Detroit is a baseball academy for youth.
Mm-hmm. And this was an all year round thing. Winter.
Oh yeah,
summer,
this was year round. In the off season, we would run camps and clinics for youth to first and foremost kids that were 7, 8, 9 novices that had never been introduced to the game. We would teach them and train them on beginners, fundamentals, and mechanics. But then the kids that were more advanced, we wanted to have a travel program based out of the city of Detroit, where those kids not only could hone their skills in the off season, but also they could play against top-notch competition, because that's how you get better. You learn your fundamentals and you master the fundamentals, but then, hey, now you got to go out and play against other kids that are really, really good, and that's how you get better.
You know, reflecting back on the day, in the day when you could go up to Northwestern High School, and you could spend all day at Northwestern watching baseball from 10 a.m. all the way to 11 o'clock at night.
Yes.
And you know, baseball, and people don't realize it. A lot of people don't realize it in this city. This was a baseball city.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, the great Willie Horton, Alex Johnson.
Yeah.
Yourself, you know.
Ted
you can
Sizemore.
name Ted Sizemore, Detroit Persian, you know.
Frank Tanana.
Yes, Frank Tanana. You can name them
Bill
all.
Daniels.
Yes.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this was definitely a baseball city, and when you look back at it to where it is now today, and the dive that it kind of took, you wonder, like, you know, what happened? Like, why did our baseball community kind of just fizzle out?
It was purposeful, if you ask me, because the schools are dependent on money from the state.
There you go.
And they just squeeze the hell out of the cities. They just do, man. Because remember, you set out one year because they took the money for sports, period. Couldn't even play it, you know? And that's why you end up over at the pores. But it's just, most of the urban youth in America live in cities. And they got like a noose around cities in every city. And they really can put a hurting on you, because almost every state's Senate and House of Representatives is going to be predominantly white. And, you know, that's just how it is.
And it's interesting that you kind of pull the color line a little bit, because something you said earlier, Mike, was about how it was kind of, you know, untaken care of by the city.
Right.
And it made me think instantly, but if you go 5 miles in either direction,
right,
you can find a sublime baseball diamond in any suburb.
Yeah, no doubt.
So why is that different there than it is here? Do they care more about their kids' athletic and abilities than we do? I don't think so. But it's like you said, maybe it was just a money thing, and they had to make a tough choice.
Yeah.
But how did you get Woodbridge started? Was it out of pocket? Did you get grants? Were they loans? Was it a combination of everything? How did it start?
Woodbridge started somewhat out of pocket, and also we were in partnership with the church I attended at that time. I was an elder at the church, and the church was entitled Renewed Life Fellowship Ministry, and out of Royal Oak, and the church would actually provide a stipend for us on a monthly basis, and we used that as seed money as well to be able to get started. Eventually, after we got a couple years into it, we started to, since we were official 501c3 nonprofit, we were able to start applying for grants. And we got a lot of help from Robert Ficano, who was the Wayne County executive at the time. The Wayne County Pass Grant was a tremendous support for us at the time. And then also the Detroit Department of Human Services, which went out of business, which I should say closed down just before the bankruptcy.
They shut us down.
They shut it down.
And the Ford family was
one legacy. Even though you're not there, that field, they built that field over there. How did the field come about?
Well, we built that. That's a good question, Leland. We built a field ourselves out of pocket, and Keith and I know Keith and Jeff remembers that because they actually did a video piece on that, which was outstanding.
Thank you.
But we came out of pocket. I remember, quite succinctly that I think we spent about $10,000 or $12,000 out of pocket, but we built a field from scratch. There was a backstop that was still there on the grounds, right there where the school was. There was a backstop, and there was nothing but grass on that field. And we did a cutout. We carved out an infield grass diamond.
And it looked so professional.
Yes.
Is that the one next to the freeway?
Right off the
line.
Before they built the state of the art, where we partnered with UAW Ford, we built the state of the art field, which was a $2.1 million, budget for that complex. But we spent $12,000 and we built an in-house field on the actual facility, and the backstop where Willie Horton, Willie Horton grew up in the Jeffries Projects, which was which was in Woodbridge. And Willie Horton first learned to play baseball on that diamond where we built that first homegrown field. And once we finished that field, like I said, we spent about $12,000 out of pocket. At that time, too, Southwestern High School had closed down. We contacted the head of facilities for Detroit Public Schools, a guy by the name of Mark Schrupp, gave us permission to go over to the old Southwestern that had just closed. We were able to take their fencing. We were able to take their dugouts. And we transported all that stuff over to Woodbridge.
Recycle.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That was smart.
And formulated that diamond there.
Repurposing,
right? Yeah.
Exactly. And when we finished with that field, and we had our academy up and running, there were teams from the suburbs chomping at the bit to come into the city to play on that field.
Mike, that field was unbelievable.
Yes.
If you look at it now, it looked just as good when you did it as it does now.
Yeah, it is.
It's not better.
Yes.
When you finished that field, I told Jeff, I'm like, Jesus, this thing looks professional.
Yes.
I mean, it looked like the Tigers would have played that.
It even got a little press box.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
My twins played over there about 15 times.
Yeah.
My grandson played on that field. Played the championship game, too. Lost.
Well,
Yes.
they're your grandchildren.
Okay, wait a minute.
I'm
It's
just
my
joking,
frat brother.
Stein.
Here he is.
I'm just joking, Stein.
Mike Wilson coached the Twins. Now, here's something that.
Well, you can't,
Well, let me
either
tell
you
you,
got
this is a good
talent or you
point.
don't, no matter who's coaching.
No, he didn't coach him there. Somebody
okay.
else coached him.
Okay.
But wait a minute, Mike might have been the coach there too, were you? Names over there?
Where at Woodbridge?
Stay in the
or over
microphone,
at
Stein.
Hamtramck?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's much time I spent at Tiger Stadium. We used to catch the bus down there. Our parents, they put them in jail now for the stuff they used to let us do. We 12 years old, catching the Grand River bus by ourselves. 4 or 5 of us, and go watching games, sitting in the bleachers for butt day, hat day, all them days. Never missed a day. So that field has serious memories for me. And then Mike was in the Pal League, and my twins was playing on the team. And one of them he turned into a catcher who caught that game. But they played and won at the corner ballpark. Now, to me, that was another one. Detroit doing a lot of smart things right now as they try to reconfigure the city and bring it into line. There was a lot of talk about what they was going to do with Tiger Stadium, that old facility, but
That's nice over there, too.
The final product was spectacular.
Yeah, it's nice.
Making the corner ballpark there and then ringing it with condominiums or whatever it is. So you still got your housing, which they're all trying to build all through Corktown. But more importantly, that's a youth facility that's being used in every way for football, baseball.
That's Detroit Pal.
Detroit Pal.
Okay, hold on. Let's get back on.
But wait, we won the
yeah.
championship.
Okay.
That's what at that Pal League that they played there and won it.
Okay, but let me get back with this.
I'm sorry. Gotta do that one.
Let me get back to Woodbridge
That's a
here.
good memory.
Let me get back to Woodbridge. Why do you think Woodbridge was important? I'm gonna throw a couple questions at you, and you can pick them and answer them.
Sure.
Why do you think it was important? You were touching on some of the things you taught there. Can you elaborate more on the things you taught there? Baseball, pitching, catching, stuff like batting. What happened to the academy afterwards? Because I was disappointed to find out that for some reason you were no longer there.
Right.
What happened that kind of forced you out or moved you out? So if you want to start, why do you think it was important, Woodbridge?
Yeah, Woodbridge was extremely important to the community because, well, number one, reason why my wife and I started it, I know God gave us the vision and the wherewithal to want to start something like that. Major reason being because 60% of the community centers and recreation centers at that time in the city of Detroit had dissolved.
Yes, they had.
And I remembered how rec centers were so beneficial to my upbringing and helped keep me on the on the right path, stay away from drugs and doing delinquent things that might cause me to be incarcerated. So I felt that a lot of people don't know it, but I left a 6-figure job at Chrysler in management to actually start the Woodbridge Community Youth Center, and my wife left her career, and so we kind of gave up everything to become socialpreneurs, to invest in our kids in the city of Detroit, like people invested in me, like Ron Thompson, my dad, and Sammy Washington and many others back in the day. So, I just felt a calling and felt that, I felt behooved to throw my hat in the ring and want to do something to help invest in our kids in the city of Detroit.
But you
that
did
Now, see,
more
that-
than just baseball, because I taught journalism over there.
I don't know.
Yes.
He did more than
Yes.
just baseball
Yeah.
at Woodbridge Center.
Yes.
But that's what you call a true leap of faith. I don't know if I could have left a 6-figure job. Heck, I don't think I could have left a 3-figure job just to step out on faith. And that's another thing. I want to ask you about your wife's participation in it, because she played a big role.
Yes.
But tell us what happened to the academy and why you're no longer there.
Yes. Well, what happened was, as Leland was mentioning too, we had a community center too that ran for 10 years. which was what we started with, and then out of that was birthed the Woodbridge Baseball Academy. But we brought on, when we went into partnership with UAW Ford to start the brand new state-of-the-art baseball facility. When we decided to do that, we allowed that partnership to allow additional members to come onto our board of directors. And when that happened, we pretty much lost control of our board of directors. And coupled with that, we had the issue of the Detroit Department of Human Services going debunked, which we got significant funding from. Also, the past grant dissolved with Wayne County and Robert Ficano, so we lost that funding. And UAW, which initially when they came on board with us partnership-wise said that they were going to continue to bring in resources and help bring in other entities to possibly help sow seed into the organization, but they didn't. And we found out really, in a nutshell, friends, that actually they wanted to partner with us so that could be a mechanism to shine the light on UAW Ford and Jimmy Settles. So to be honest with you, that was what really caused our organization to dissolve. We couldn't, and coupled with that building which we were in was like I said, built in 1896. The roof, which we had been repatching every couple years, we found out that roof needed to be completely replaced. And the Detroit Public Schools, they wanted us to keep renting that building as is. They didn't want to put any more money into it.
Wow.
We were responsible for it. And we went out and got 2 or 3 quotes on a brand new roof. It was going to be anywhere from $125,000 to $150,000 to replace that roof. So we just couldn't continue to hold hold up the fort of the ship, so to speak, financially.
I love the term that you use, socialpreneurs.
Yeah.
Other cities in this country have been doing the same thing as far as inner cities with inner city baseball. Now I know that you're a good associate with Reggie Miller's brother.
Yes.
And we have talked about
Daryl Miller.
Daryl Miller.
Yeah.
And he's kind of doing the same thing that you're doing, or you kind of did the same thing that he's doing, but he's doing his in California. How's that connection with him still, with you and him?
Well, now Daryl Miller has moved over to another position within Major League Baseball, but currently there's 10 urban Major League Baseball academies throughout the cities around the country. The last one that was built was 10 years ago in Kansas City, and as a matter of fact, I just visited there about a month and a half ago. Spent about a week there and had a series of meetings there with their management team, and so finding out exactly what they had to do to be able to establish their academy there. They had to have a major partnership, of course, with Kansas City Royals, the Major League Baseball team there, and then other corporate entities and the political groups in the community, in that urban community, and it literally cost. They told me about $27 million to start that academy. But then the other thing that they had that continued to sustain them was that the Kansas City Royals came on board. Do you know the Kansas City Royals now handles all of the payroll for all of their for their entire staff now. Yeah,
Wow.
from top to bottom. The
Okay.
Kansas City Royals foots the bill for their staff.
You never could get the Tigers on board like that?
We never could get the Tigers to partner with us in that, in that realm to be able to possibly even help financially our academy when we had it, which was the closest thing to a Major League Baseball academy.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as you mentioned, Jeff, we were year round.
Right.
Not only did we help the kids in terms of training baseball year round, feeding the kids, tutoring the kids, because we had a partnership with Wayne State University, which would come in and tutor the kids on a daily basis academically.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because Stein, when you said somebody in your family, you or your kids learned journalism, it made me think about how when I came over there, you guys were having computer classes, math classes, English classes. So Woodbridge just wasn't a baseball academy. It was pretty much an overall.
Yeah.
No, it was the
Community
full
center.
gamut.
Yeah,
It was a full gamut. We called it AAA, academics, athletics, and the arts. We had classes in all of those genres, and Leland came over and taught. Yep. Journalism type classes.
Oh, you taught the class? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you said, okay.
Yeah. His wife would come over and taught several type of classes. I'll never forget, his wife came over and taught her and introduced the class to us, which was phenomenal. It was renowned. It was called I Think I'm Grown for our kids. I Think I'm Grown. And it was a breakdown to teach kids of literally what you need to be able to do, budgetarily speaking, to be an adult.
Yeah.
How to budget in terms of, your rent, gas, food. I mean, she broke it down.
I can imagine the faces. What? That's what y'all do for us?
And then at the end of the the cohort, she gave us certificates called I Think I'm Grown Now. But yeah, we covered the whole gamut, and we had kids that started with us in elementary school age from the time they were like 5 or 6 until they transitioned into high school, and there's kids now that went to the Woodbridge Community Youth Center for maybe 5 or 6 years. There's a guy now that's currently he's doing his internship now at Sinai Grace. He's going to be a surgeon. He did his undergrad at Michigan. He went to medical school at Michigan, and now he's at Sinai Grace becoming a surgeon.
Oh, see, and that goes to show the importance of a great mentors. You too, Stein, your wife.
Yes.
The importance of those kind of organizations, because a lot of our children aren't privy to that stuff.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
And just your organization, just Woodbridge, listening to you and remembering what we saw when we went over there to do the piece, you guys have affected so many children, over the years, and Stein, hats off to you and your wife. I had no idea. I always find something new about you outside of being a lunatic. But, we always find out something interesting about you, in certain things. And that was a good piece of information. I had no idea, But, Mike, you guys at Woodbridge have done so much for the inner city. It's a shame that that place had to be taken over and shut down. So,
But you got to say this about
what are you doing?
Even though, like things go up and down like life always treats us, but Mike, what he did over at Hamtramck needs to be acknowledged as well.
And that's what I want to know.
Oh, my goodness.
Before you do that, throw a little bit of information about what your wife's part was and what she did to help make Woodbridge what it was.
Yeah,
and what she's doing now.
My wife was the program director across the board at Woodbridge. She was the engine that made everything go. I mean, I was the executive director making the major decisions and talking to the funders and such. But she was the one that kept things going from A to Z. A lot of people don't even know we had transportation over there too. We had 5 vans, 15 passenger vans, where we picked up kids from like 12 different schools in the area and transported them to the community center and the baseball academy. So, but to move on to Hamtramck, let me say first and foremost, I've got to thank and praise God. God was the one that gave us the vision for Woodbridge and all the things that we were able to amass and accomplish over there. But about 6 months after Woodbridge dissolved, Gary Gillette, who was the chairman of the board for the Friends of Historic Hamtramck Stadium, was trying to put together a group, board-wise and support-wise, that would help restore historic Hamtramck Stadium, which was a Negro League stadium that was that lie dormant for about 25 years. And the city of Hamtramck was actually going to tear it down. It had become an eyesore. And Gary Gillette, who's a baseball historian, got wind of it, went over and talked to the city manager at Hamtramck and the mayor, and told them, hey, you know, don't tear this down. You guys got a gym in your backyard, and if you're willing to allow me, I'll try to put together a board, and we'll a nonprofit, I should say, and a board, and we'll try to generate funding to be able to resurrect it, or to revive it. So about 6 months after Hamtramck Stadium closed, Gary Gillette got wind of what I did, or what we were able to do at Woodbridge with the academy, and he said, hey, would you be willing to be a part of our board? And so I did. I came on board with the Friends of Historic Hamtramck Stadium. That was in 2017, and for 2 years I just was working primarily with the board, assisting them, and then they asked me to head up the project to actually totally restore the stadium. And so I at that particular time, I became the president and executive director of Friends of Historic Hamtramck Stadium, and I was in charge of helping to restore the stadium as far as what we would do to kind of renovate it. So in the COVID year 2020, we did a patronicity campaign to generate funds to be able to restore the grounds. So the first thing we did was we resurfaced the grounds. A lot of people were saying, hey, you need to put turf down because everybody's going with turf. And that's going to save you money as far as maintenance. But we felt that we wanted to stay as close as possible to the original historic stadium. There's only 5 Negro League stadiums still erect and being used for baseball around the country at this time. So we felt it was important to.
What are they? You got to help us with that.
Well, the oldest one is Rickwood, which is in Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah, that's the oldest stadium. Rickwood is actually the oldest baseball stadium still in use in the country right now, including all the Major League Baseball stadiums.
That's what I was about to say. Now they renovated that also,
yes.
didn't they?
Yeah. That's in Birmingham. That's where Willie Mays got his start. Mm-hmm. And then Hamtramck is the second oldest, built in 1930. 17 players that played there. Negro Leagues are currently in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And then League Stadium is in Cleveland. That's another one that's currently still being used for baseball. And then there's another stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is the fourth one, and then the fifth one is in New Jersey. Yep, it's actually, I forget the name of the city, but there's one also in New Jersey currently. So
Got to be near Newark, I suppose. That's where the large black population was in New Jersey.
Yeah, it'll come to me. But in essence, Newark is the fifth one. So the other ones, I mean, there's a few stadiums around, Negro League stadiums that's around that, the remnants are still left, but they haven't been renovated and aren't still being active or used today for baseball.
Right.
Yeah. So we're in our third phase now of rebuilding the stadium at historic Hamtramck Stadium. There's currently a $3.2 million renovations being done as we speak. We're getting lights, LED lighting, scoreboard, custom restrooms, locker rooms,
Wow.
concessions. We're getting irrigation and subsurface drainage panels put in throughout the surface too. Hamtramck Stadium never had irrigation, so it always had to be hand watered. And then lastly, Building 5 is going to be a museum. Yep, a Negro League and a Detroit baseball historic museum. Yeah, so all those are being built as we speak. They will be completed and ready to roll by March of 2026.
So right now is the that's what next
I know,
year.
right? I know that. Yeah, they
Yes.
moving right along.
Yeah.
Yes.
So excuse me, is the stadium being used right now for baseball, or is it just being renovated?
Right. Well, as we speak right now, today, the construction is going on full bore.
Okay, so no sports have been
Nothing.
played.
We had to shut down August 15th to start the construction projects, and also in addition to that, our parking lots even are being totally resurfaced, and the road that leads to the stadium, which is on Dan Street, that whole street is being, and the parking lot is being totally resurfaced and restriped with mortar, with cement. We're not having asphalt put down. It's a 7-layer or 7-inch thick cement, so it'll last for a good 15 or 20 years. It's being done as we speak right now.
Stein, your kids will be able to go over there and ball out.
They do. They play.
Yes.
They played over there. That's where their team was. Mike was coaching.
Yeah.
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 So this one is gonna.
They played on the little field though, not the big one.
Yeah, they played on the
There's
Little
two
League Diamond.
fields
The
over
Little League Diamond,
there's
we
two fields
renovated.
there.
We
Little League
renovated
Diamond.
the Little League Diamond last year too. On a small scale. Put infield grass down. Put fence crowns around. We're going to add in the next couple of years. We're going to add a scoreboard and a couple other things too. But Leland knows I've been coaching baseball for over 40 years.
Yeah. Following your dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
So is this field? I guess from the sounds of it, it's not only going to rival Woodbridge, it's going to be a step above.
Oh yeah,
Woodbridge.
it will excel. Excuse me, because
Because the Woodbridge wasn't no joke. So
Woodbridge wasn't a joke, but we feel like it's important to pay homage to the Negro League guys.
Definitely.
We stand on the shoulders of those Negro League guys who paved the way. I mean, you guys were talking about baseball being king, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s in the city of Detroit. Baseball was the top sport for African Americans. I mean, we excelled.
Yeah.
I mean, it was part of our culture.
And the Negro Leagues, I've done a comprehensive story on them guys. They were the largest black business in America.
That's right.
And because
That's right.
And it was connected to the Green Book.
Yes.
They used the Green Book.
Come on
to
now.
travel.
Come on. That's right.
I guess
Where
back
to
in then,
stay.
wouldn't you
what
use the Green Book?
hotels, where to get your gas.
Right.
Yeah.
The transportation. They had their own trainers,
Yes.
people clean the fields.
And now
On the signs on the stadiums, it would be the local business people, the lawyers and the doctors I mean, so the whole community was connected to that Negro League baseball.
Now,
Yes.
just to
The
kind of
drivers,
jump off the subject a little bit, we're going to get back to it. Leland, you mentioned the Green Book, and a whole lot of people have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit on the Green Book.
Well, like if you had came up north as part of the Great Migration, or even before that, just trying to move around America.
As a Negro.
As a Negro.
Right.
You could not stay here. You couldn't eat here. You couldn't gas here. There was nothing you could do. I don't know how they did it. I think back
Green
to
Book.
that. Yeah, but
Prior to the
it was
Green Book.
amazing. It was
nuts.
amazing.
Because your life was in danger, always.
Yes.
My aunt came up, when she came up on the train station, and she used to kind of slide to the side because they was always concerned about getting injured by white people. They really were. I mean, that's a deep thing to have on your head. Everywhere you go, especially if you're going into the big white buildings like the Detroit train station and get Chicago and them places. So, but yeah, the Green Book allowed them some semblance of
Safety.
yes,
Security.
safety. Yeah, they didn't have to deal with the white people.
It was
at all.
it was a guide for Black Americans to safely travel
That's right.
across the country.
Eat,
You know,
lodging,
eat and sleep
everything.
and stuff like that. It was very important.
So the golfers, if you read about their story too, Charlie Sifford, Teddy Rose, and Bill Spiller, and those guys, man, that's how they survived.
Yeah.
They used the Green Book and stayed with Black professional people in every city they went in because they couldn't deal anywhere else.
So there you have it, listeners. That's another edition of a little bit of history and education about the Green Book. Whether you knew about it or not, now you have some idea what it was and how important it was. But let's get back to you, Mike. Sorry, when he mentioned the Green Book,
that's good stuff.
I just wanted to
It's a
let
postman
people know.
in New York, I think, started it.
Yeah.
And it's just deep how like the guys that was on the train, they had
The porters.
The porters.
The porters.
They moved the black newspapers and the Green Book around the country. That's how it got around through them. They would pick it up and drop it off in Detroit, Chicago, and then boom, boom.
If anybody says that Black people didn't know how to survive
They
and
did.
succeed, trust me, we did. We did.
Yes.
But you were talking about the Negro League. I'm sorry, Stein.
No,
I just
go
wanted.
ahead. No.
You were talking about the Negro League and stuff like that, and I was watching. It made me think about a documentary I watched about a week or so ago about Satchel Paige, and I just thought it was wonderful. And it was strictly about Satchel. Of course, they threw Gibson and a few others in. But that just made me think about that. And the Negro League was very important for Black athletes because there was a time where not just baseball, football, basketball, anything was off limits to African Americans. So what you're doing over at Hamtramck is not only just rebuilding and revitalizing a stadium, but you're saving history as well. And that's very important. And you have to respect people who are doing that. I mean, Mike, I wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't know where to get the money. I wouldn't have the umph or the tenacity to do what you've done. Not once, but twice. Because, we spent, half a year over there videotaping?
Yes.
When you were doing Woodbridge. And you had been working on that years before we got there. Right. And you worked on it years after we left.
Right.
And now, once that was, whatever happened to it, happened, you didn't just quit. You just said, hey, this is too important.
What's the next project?
The children need it. The city needs it.
Right.
Yeah, like Jeff said, what can we do next? And then this guy comes up and says, hey, work with me. And you jump right on board. I don't know if I could have done it. I'd been
he had some help. Thank God.
Well, that's what I mean.
We
still,
need some of our white brothers and sisters. All of them
aren't
ain't
bad.
Yes, absolutely.
I like to say,
got to remember that.
I like to say that the white people I work with, I used to tease them and tell my sister, I had good white people. I had good white folk. But anyway, you got to have some. So.
Yeah, because I had some help me. I mean, I couldn't have done some of the things I've done without being advocated by some of my white brothers.
Yeah, but what's so important,
the thing is that Mike had the tenacity and the wherewithal to not give up and to continue doing it.
And what's
regardless to the help.
What's so important about that is that
we appreciate it.
Hamtramck, and a lot of people didn't know it because I didn't know it growing up. I didn't know that Hamtramck Stadium was a black a Negro League ballpark.
I didn't know Hamtramck had a stadium.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't know they had a stadium.
I knew they had a stadium because they had Keyworth Stadium over there, the football field, and the soccer facility now, where the soccer team
They
is
done
moving out and
refurbished
getting
that
an
one,
whole
too.
new stadium built.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but as far as baseball, that stadium, that Hamtramck Stadium, I didn't know it was one of the existing Negro League stadiums in the country. I didn't know it was. I didn't know it existed as a
Right.
Negro League stadium, and a lot of people probably did know that. You know,
I did.
a lot of people did. A
Because
lot of
our
baseball people
history
didn't know that.
is hidden. That's why we don't know nothing. You're not going to learn it in high school because they're not going to teach it. And with these MAGA folk, they taking out any kind of history.
Okay, wait, we ain't gonna get back
No,
on
I ain't
that.
gonna get that. Let me finish what I'm saying.
That's another story.
I'm
now.
gonna finish. But they're taking out history, so we really can't learn nothing. The only way you're gonna learn is you're inquisitive or you have parents that.
Only way
let
we
you
gonna
do it.
learn is people like you
And Mike
and Mike.
and you.
Okay,
Yes.
you can throw me in there
Yes.
too. Teaching it to our young people, letting them know that this is a part of our history.
Yes.
That's the way
Yeah.
we. That's the way we
That's
pass
the
it
only
on.
way.
And to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, Stein, one of the reasons like people like myself didn't know that Hamtramck had it was because it was too busy advertising Briggs Field,
Of course they
the big
were.
white stadiums and
Of
so
course
forth
they
like
were.
that.
Yeah.
Why am I going to worry about a little stadium in
Ain't
Hamtramck
no doubt about
when
it.
I got Tiger, Briggs Field and all that to go to? That's what you hear about. You don't hear about the little black stadiums
I
here and
told
there.
you, we used to catch the bus, the Grand River bus, at 12 years old with all adults. I would never let my grandkids go anywhere at 12 years old on no bus by themselves.
Well, it's a different time,
It
too.
is a different time. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, my parents were negligent. They let us just go in and we'd go to Fox Theater or anything. Just get on the bus and go.
Well, times were a little bit safer,
Well, I know they
think.
were. I know,
But,
I know.
it was still a little
Especially
risky.
in Detroit, too, because
Yeah.
we had a strong black population.
Yeah.
So I think they felt a lot of comfortability about where their kids were because they came up from the South and they knew it was horrifying down there. Lord,
So, Mike, what's the next project? What's the next step? Where
Well,
do you go from
let
here?
me say this real quickly too, fellas, that I've got to say, and regarding my stint at Hamtramck, what some of you may not understand is that I was born in Hamtramck. So for me, this project is kind of like a learn, earn, return type scenario where, I was born and raised up until the time my family moved to Conant Gardens. My mom and dad moved us to Conant Gardens when I was like 6, but the rest of my family was still in Hamtramck. That house that my grandfather bought in 1903, my grandfather had migrated here from Canada, where our family, all of my family on my mother's side, came up through the Underground Railroad to Canada. Then he moved to Hamtramck, and again, all my family on my mother's side were born and raised there and went to the Hamtramck School District. But so my dad used to take me when I was like 4 or 5, because my dad had a cup of coffee in the Negro Leagues, played baseball. So he used to bring me up to Hamtramck when I was like 4 or 5. That was my first introduction to baseball. And Hamtramck had the #1 Little League program in the state of Michigan. They won the Little League World Series in 1959.
Pinky, what was his name?
Pinky Darris,
Yes.
who to this day is the deemed to be the greatest Little Leaguer that ever lived. He still has the records for Little League International for most home runs and no hitters pitched. So I was exposed to them when I was little. And right there in Hamtramck on that Little League diamond there. So, Leland's grandkids got to play on that field last year and year before, and so I've just felt beholden to continue to give back to kids in our community in that particular setting, if at all possible.
Yeah, well, I've only known you for 15 years or so.
Yeah, about 15 years.
And within that time, I realized how dedicated you are to service to the children. No, I mean
to the community.
I'm not being nice. I
Appreciate
tell people I'm not being nice. I'm being honest. It's a difference, and what you have contributed is extremely important, extremely vital. Because without people like yourself, guess what? It doesn't get done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
And Mike-
I'll be the first to say I'm not doing it. You know,
And Mike stayed true to it because
Yeah.
my grandson's team was, when they the Homestead Grays?
They were the Hamtramck
Grays.
What we called them, the H-Town Grays,
Yeah,
yeah.
the H-Town Grays.
Which was a throwback to the Homestead Grays
Homestead
Negro
Grays.
League team,
Right, exactly.
which is recognized as being the greatest Negro League team that ever ever existed, because they won I think like 3 or 4 Negro League championships in a
Yes,
row.
they did.
And I think they had more guys off that team that went on to be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes.
so Mike,
I had to teach my kids
Josh Gibson.
because of
Josh.
him with the
was on that
Grays.
team.
We had to go through and look it up, and because I said you
Oh,
need to
yeah.
know what's on your hat.
Educational moment.
Yeah, we sat down and went through all the stuff. They were like, "Whoa, okay, we got a team here."
That's right.
it's funny.
History,
Right,
baby.
history.
It's funny you said that because after I played Kappa, I came home from college and I had one of my shirts on. My dad's an Alpha. He was an Alpha.
Uh-oh.
And you know, I came from an Alpha family, both sides. And we were sitting at the table eating. He looked at my shirt and he saw our crest. He said, "You know what that says on that crest?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Read it." I said, "I can't tell you what it says." He said, "Well, make sure you know, because you should never wear something on your body that you don't know what it says."
Yes.
And when you mentioned that hat,
Yes,
that's a good point. They needed
Yeah.
to know what they were wearing on their head
right.
and the
Yeah.
significance of it.
That's right.
That was a good point you made. Lee.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna wrap it up unless anybody's got anything else to say. But Mike, before we do close, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come out and spend time with us and to elaborate and tell us what you're doing, what you've been doing, and where you're going next. How can people get in touch with you if they want to get their kids involved in the upcoming programs that you'll be having at Hamtramck?
Yes, individuals can contact me.
Say it slow now.
Okay, can contact me. Yeah, this is going to be a long one too. Via email at Coach Mike at hamtramckstadium.org. So that's Coach Mike at Hamtramck, which is HAMTRAMCK Stadium STADIUM.org. Coach Mike at HamtramckStadium.org.
Spell Coach Mike too, just in case.
No. If they that dumb, we just gonna.
They don't need to play, right?
They don't need to play.
Say they don't need to go if you can't spell Coach Mike.
We gonna let them go.
Okay, is there a phone number?
Well,
Or that you wanna
baseball
give out?
training, baseball training, or even if you want to support, we take donations to historic Hamtramck Stadium. You can go through that venue to get a hold of me, and or they can reach me at area code 248-505-6603. Area code 248-505-6603.
Now tell us where the stadium is. Can you give an address in case somebody wants to drive by and see what's going on?
Sure. If you drive by now, you're gonna see a whole lot of construction going on. But the address is 3201 or 3201 Dan Street, Dan. Yep, that's
And it's
Hamtramck.
right off of what?
It's right off of Joe's Ocampo.
Ocampo.
Joe's Ocampo in the city of Hamtramck. Yep, the zip code is 48212. Yep.
Spent a lot of days
Love to
over
have
there
you come by
sitting,
and see what's going on.
rooting on my boys.
Now when did
Yes.
you say it would be finished again and or expected?
Yeah, the
Finish.
expected finish is March of 2026.
That's sweet.
Yep. So, in other words, we hit the ground running next spring for baseball and games and training, and even next summer I think I'm going to be putting on a summer camp for summer youth for baseball, where we'll teach an educational component and then baseball, and then we'll have the museum there too, where they can learn some history, and then we'll be feeding the kids as well.
When you
So
say museum, it's going to be a Negro League museum, or
it'll be a Negro League and and Detroit baseball. History surrounding Detroit baseball and the individuals that played in Detroit.
Now, is there an
Alex
official
Johnson.
grand opening day, or you haven't gotten to that point yet?
That's a great question. We haven't set a specific date for an opening for all the new things that are being implemented, but stay tuned for the date for that.
Okay.
Or they may be able to find out on our website. We've got a website too at friendsofhistorichamtramckstadium.org.
Who's the biggest benefactor right now? Benevolent offering. Can
Of
you say
Hamtramck
it?
Stadium?
Yeah, that's been helping y'all. Any company?
Well,
organization that you
this
wanna
particular project that we're doing now it's a HUD grant that that's pretty much subsidizing the bulk of it.
Huh?
Yeah,
Y'all better hurry up,
It's a
'cause
federal grant. No, it's already in the bank now. It's been earmarked and deposited in the bank
everything.
now.
You know that, right? This toward this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, you can't get a pea out of them, boy.
Yeah, I feel bad because, shucks, there's another benefactor too who's from Hamtramck, came up through the school district, played at the University of Michigan, and then played at, I think he played at Notre Dame and then went on and played in the NFL, but he played like in the 50s and early 60s, and he has an endowment that he provides like $1.2 million to us on an annual basis as well.
Oh, wow.
That's what you need.
You need sustainability to keep you going for at least 5 or 6 years, so you can continue to bring in additional funders. So
We need our white brothers and sisters.
We need
absolutely.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. And I think people are starting to realize that now with the
Yes.
present political situation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mike, I want to thank you. Again, I can't thank you enough. Anybody
My
have any
pleasure.
last
My
questions?
pleasure, fellas.
Jeff, last question?
No, I'm just
Leland?
glad he had the opportunity to come.
Leland, last question?
No.
Anything you want to contribute before we sign off, Mike?
No, I just want to say I appreciate you guys to the max. I mean, you guys are like brothers in the sense of how you supported my endeavors and our endeavors from the get-go. So I appreciate your skills and what you bring to the party and your love for this city. And I just hope that you guys continue to doing it because I know we need it in the city.
Okay. Before we sign off, I want to let Mrs. Wilson know your husband did not drink. It was just me, Leland, and Jeff. We're the only alcoholics here. I'm just joking. We're not alcoholics. But he did not drink. I want you all to know that.
I want to say this last thing before Mike leaves.
Lord.
I told you we get stupid, man.
The first
crazy.
Super Bowl that I covered was at the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yes.
did, Al Davis got me in there for the radar on. He took a liking to us, and he gave me a photographer. And I called Mike. I said, Mike, I need some help. Mike shot the game. He
Yep.
shot the freaking
That's
Super
right.
Bowl in the Rose Bowl that year.
Good.
That's
He
right,
sure
Leland.
did.
You guys go back a long
was a treat,
way.
That was
man.
a long way.
That was a treat.
90?
That was
93,
93, some 92. We were kicking
Yeah.
it with OJ before that mess hit. The whole 9 yards, man.
And
And
the significance of that Super Bowl, I think it was about 91.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was the first time they
Yeah.
did a big halftime show.
he was
performed.
the performer.
And that's when the halftime show blew up.
Yes.
Before that, they had cheerleaders marching and
Yeah.
Well, you know,
college
Mike was
bands.
the king, so
yeah.
That was
Mike,
off
the
Mike
charts.
started the
He-
Super Bowl halftime
he
show.
started music videos. Mike was an innovator.
He was innovative.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for listening. I can't appreciate your support and just stay with us. I want to thank my co-host, Jeffrey Lowe.
The hook.
I want to thank our sports analyst and my other co-host, Leland Stein. And
Oh,
I especially want to thank our guest, Mike Wilson, for all he's doing, all he's done, and for taking time out to be with us today. So
Thank you.
enjoy the rest of the summer. It's about to get cold here in the city of Detroit.
Right. It is.
And you all be safe. Watch yourself. Don't get deported. And we'll talk to you all later. Love you from the hood. This is Keith Butler signing off.
They can be sending brothers back to Uganda.